Okie dokie, folks. How's it going? I'm Kyle Shaw, aka the Canadian Goose, and you are watching Monday Night Shaw or listening to it. I believe it's available in both video and audio. Should probably find that out. Anyway, I'm happy to be back. It's 2023 was a really rough year for me. Of course, I went down with an ACL surgery, so I wasn't allowed to wrestle for a whole year. So that didn't exactly put me in high spirits. Then there was a number of other, my mom had some pretty personal issues that affected me a great deal as well. So I wasn't really in the headspace to be enjoyably talking to people about wrestling, and I didn't want to come on here every 2 weeks and do a therapy with the goddamn Canadian Goose. So the point is, we are back on the air. This is Monday Night Shaw, first episode back, and I couldn't be happier because on tonight's episode is one of those wrestlers that I got a chance to meet while I was down with injury. He's a newer fella. He might have been wrestling a little bit before I went with it, got an injury, but I certainly met him during my sabbatical, and I'm very impressed with what I've seen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Prospector from Can-Am Wrestling. This is Wes Barker. Press the button. There we go. Okie dokie. How's it going, Wes?
Good. I'm glad to be on. Glad to be on Monday Night Shaw. Dude.
Oh, I'm glad to have you, buddy. Like I say, I haven't done one in a significant portion of time here, and one of my goals this year is to crank them out pretty consistently. And I appreciate you coming on here and being the first person to step up and get interviewed.
Hey, it's an honor, man. I really appreciate it. It's funny, actually, Goose. You mentioned kind of the timeline of when we met. I was doing ring crew when you and I met. I wasn't in the ring yet, so I was one of the guys in the crowd going honk, honk, honk. You know.
Right on, buddy. Well,
how could I not be?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope you don't think I'm being rude because I don't remember you being on the ring crew before you wrestled, but I definitely remember you wrestling because, I think you've taken kind of a unique position here on wrestling in this modern time. It's kind of similar to myself. Like, you have a gimmick, you're not just, Wes Barker, professional wrestler, you actually you got the cowboy hat and the pickaxe, or it's good. I like that kind of stuff. So I definitely took notice.
Yeah, no, man. I the Prospector is it's my family's history, right? Like my great three greats grandfather was Billy Barker out of northern British Columbia, and he actually started the Caribou Gold Rush after the California Gold Rush. He went over there, began that, and so the Prospector is it's historical. It's in my blood.
Oh, really?
It is. Oh. Yeah.
Well, I can't say that there's any actual Canadian geese in my blood. So you got one up on me. Good for you, buddy. No, I appreciate that. Was it your idea to wrestle with a gimmick? Just I asked because I know that one of the other guys that came up pretty much around the same time. I don't know if you guys come up in the same gym or not. Is Scorpius, another guy with a gimmick, and I'm just kind of wondering, did you guys brainstorm together? Was this given to you guys by your trainers?
Well, no. For me, it was when I made the foray into professional wrestling. I wanted to stay true to myself and stay true to my family's history. So that's I always was going to be the Prospector unless told by a promoter that, hey, we need this guy for this show. Then yeah, I'll go do it. I'm an entertainer. Right.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that prospect there.
Yeah.
You're the prospect. You're dealing out prospects.
That. So, yeah, and then it's the only thing that's not true to the gimmick is the pickaxe. I'll tell people that the pickaxe I yield is that of my great grandfather Billy Barker. It's not. I sell those things left, right, and center. Whoever's willing to fork out a couple $100 gets a pickaxe that I'm off buying a new one, right? So
you sell pickaxes as merchandise for like hundreds of dollars?
Not legally. I mean, I'm sure it's legal, but so. Okay, so here's the thing: is like we're after a show one night, and these college kids came to a show in Innisfail, and they had a great time, right? So I'm out there doing my thing. I crack a beer with them mid-match. Post-match, crack another beer with them. These guys are great. They're there for a fun time. They're the party section.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what a fun show. That was a blast. So I end up at the bar in Innisfail after the show, and I walk in, and well, guess who's there? The group of college kids. So they're all excited because they're having, a night out, boys' night, right? And anyway, one of them looks at me and goes, so how much for the pickaxe? So hey, it's my great grandfather's pickaxe, not for sale. He goes, how about $140? And I said, you know what? Make it $150. And he goes, well, I only got 20s on me, so it's either $140 or $160. Deal, 160.
What an ace negotiator.
Incredible negotiation skills. He must be a business student, right?
He might be a wrestling promoter.
Honk, honk, honk. So anyway, I sold the pickaxe for $160 because that was just a lie. Bought a new one. And I get the occasional offer to sell that the second one I'm on here, and I will. I just gotta wait for the right number, and great grandfather's pickaxe, man.
Have you considered getting like some plush ones to sell at the merch table, like maybe some like stuffed pickaxes or something?
Yeah. I mean, merch is something that I need to improve on. Because unless I'm, just selling my pickaxe in a bar on a whim, after a show, I'm not the, I don't got like a little store going on.
No.
I got some photos, right? Some photos and whatnot. But, I mean, that'd be a good idea. There's so many things you can do for merch. Like one thing I tried to do, what I tried to do is I tried to do LJN dolls.
Really?
Yeah. Do you want to actually, this is incredible. I want to show you them because here's the thing is I order these LJN dolls, I order some off eBay, one off Kijiji, I think. And then some wrestlers had some old ones and they were like, I have this one right here. Like, this is like Macho Man, right? The old rubber.
Oh, solid. Yeah, that's cool.
Rubber LJN, right?
Yeah.
And so I started looking at wrestlers who could like pass off as me, or I could pass off as them. And I thought, you know what, this is genius. I'm gonna buy these LJN dolls. I'm gonna paint them to look like me, and I'm gonna sell LJNs. Well, it turns out that the LJN market is very expensive. And not only that, like, I am not good at painting at all. So these things turned out kind of disastrous. And I was all like bummed about it because like it wasn't cheap. And that's also why you can't sell it for merch, because like I don't even know what I'd have to charge these things. Probably more than the pickaxe that I'm occasionally selling. No one's gonna buy these, so I'm like, this is too bad. But then luckily, I have a friend of mine is an artist, and she came to one of the wrestling shows that I was on, and thought, oh wow, wrestling's actually awesome. Like, she'd never been. It was the first time at a show, and I told her about the LJN thing, and she was like, well, give them to me. I'll see what I can do. And then when she gave them back to me, come on, here, Goose. Sorry, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna grab.
Yeah, no, we're gonna wait for Prospector. If you're listening on audio, rest assured that he did show a classic Macho Man LJN figure, which is basically they're just big rubber figures. They don't have moving arms or anything. They're just like, they got a bicep pose, and you could play with the big solid one, but there's no articulation or anything. They're classic '80s toys. Anyway, let's check out the custom made ones.
They're so classic too that they are the first wrestling action figures to ever be released.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the LJN line. There's a documentary on Netflix about.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I watched this.
Yeah,
like
and
the toys that we grew up with, or something. Yes.
So good, so good. Okay, so and sorry for the people listening on audio. I forgot that's a thing too. So I'll try to describe these. The best way to describe it is it looks like me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's got this was Bob Orton before it was the Prospector. So it's got my black vest with the teal stripes. It's got the pickaxe logo on the back.
Huh.
When my great grandfather struck gold, he did it in Bigfoot Creek. And so I have Bigfoot logos on my teal wrestling tights. So we got Bigfoot there. We got the other Bigfoot logo on the other side. The orange boots, because I'm super 80s. There was no way I was wearing, Jordans or trainers or mat shoes or barefoot. I was always going to be wearing the obnoxious orange boots. And then this is another one we got done. And that was Jake the Snake before it was me.
I was going to guess that was who the first one was, but that's incredible. That looks like you after like a few beers.
Yeah, honestly, that's a really good way of describing it. So anyway, I got a few LJNs. I got another one there, but that was my attempt at selling merch, Goose. That was my attempt at selling merch. It was really expensive. I was out a lot of money. My really talented friend saved it, but now I'm like too attached to these things to sell them. So.
Well, I think that one of the good things about like having a gimmick is that the merchandising opportunities. Like, you could do up a cool Prospector T-shirt and people will buy that with like a pickaxe on it or a Bigfoot. Like that's all really cool stuff, right? I'm very fortunate because like my character is the Canadian Goose, so like I'll literally hit up the dollar store and buy a bunch of Canadian headbands, turn around, sell them all for $5 a piece at the show. And, I'm not trying to say I'm swindling people. I appreciate everyone's support, but a lot of the Canadian Goose's merchandise comes from the Dollar Tree.
July 2nd must be like the biggest day of the year for you. The day after Canada Day, everything's on sale.
Oh, yeah, should be, but I'm not that smart, so. But yeah, no, it's super easy for me to get that kind of stuff. I find that T-shirts and stuff, they are like that's a bit more of an investment. I haven't actually done that yet because like I have to pay like at least $300 to have enough shirts to have at a merchandise table. I feel so. I mean, you spend the $300 and then hopefully you make significantly more, selling them off, but you do have to have that initial $300 to spend, and I don't.
Yeah, it's merch is a challenge. I mean, yeah, I don't know. When I go to a show, I'm there to wrestle.
Yeah,
I'm there to get in the ring. So. Yeah, the merch side of stuff is definitely something I need to get better at, but it's so low on my priority list.
Yeah, I would be, I can't argue with that. Like, I mean, I will have a show this Sunday, and so far I don't have any pictures or anything to take with me. I'm just gonna go and try and have a good match, and I'll work on the pictures for the next show. Hopefully,
Awesome. Who you got this week?
I have no idea. How many matches have you done for RCW?
For Squig?
Yeah.
Gosh. I must have done. I gotta be around 10 shows.
Okay. And how many of those did you know who you were wrestling before the show? I love Squiggy, but that's just kind of one of the aspects of RCW, and it's an aspect of it that I both love and hate. I don't like it because I personally like to do promos, And it's very difficult for me to do a promo if I don't know who I'm wrestling, because then literally all I can say is, "Hey, I'm wrestling this weekend. Come watch." You know?
Honk, honk.
Yeah. But whereas if I know who I'm wrestling, I can kind of like go talk about what they do and then, put my own little spin on stuff. And like I say, like the other aspect is like, it's kind of fun because you'll just show up and then just be like, "Oh, solid. This is who I'm get to wrestle." And, you get to go out there and just, it makes it a little bit more spontaneous,
Absolutely.
And I like that aspect. I kind of like that RCW is a bit of the Wild West of Alberta wrestling. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, it's great. And like the Legion shows on Fridays. Man,
Yes.
those are incredible.
Yeah, they've been getting some great crowds and stuff.
Those are incredible crowds that they've become like a staple in that area. Like on that Seventh Street train line. Like people know that Friday night there's wrestling along there, and they go, and it's awesome.
Right on. Well, I think what about Can-Am? How many dates have you done for Can-Am? I would assume probably a lot more because you're I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like a Can-Am, like that's your home promotion, right?
Yeah. I've done gosh, I think I'm at like 60 matches total.
Solid.
And I think that it's the thing that I really love about pro wrestling, Goose, is the travel aspect to it. Like being on the road every single weekend is a dream come true for me. Like it's interesting. Like we came from the carny lifestyle. Like wrestling came from the carnival, where you're going town to town, setting up a ring, being a part of the carnival in it. And I take massive pride in that. And I take massive pride in fashioning my life in the way that people used to do back when we were part of the carnival. Like this past summer, for example, like I was with Pure Power Wrestling a lot, and they had a lot of spot shows in different towns.
Oh, yeah, Sydney Steel. They do good stuff there.
They do great stuff. They do excellent stuff. All the companies in town do great stuff. And
nobody in Alberta does bad stuff.
No, wrestling in Alberta is great, and that's why I love being a part of it. Like so, like I'd go out to whatever town with Pure Power over the summer, and I'd get there and there'd be an actual carnival set up. There'd be a midway, there'd be a Ferris wheel, there'd be cotton candy, and they would have booked wrestling on like the Tabor Corn Festival. Right.
Nice.
So Tabor Corn Festival books wrestling. We show up. We're legit wrestling at a carnival. It's so old school, and I absolutely love that. And then, yeah, back to Can-Am. Like Can-Am has done an excellent job in building towns, and creating storylines in those towns and getting repeat customers because of said storylines, and just entertaining. Creating an entertaining product. So like Can-Am does Olds at the Bulldog Saloon. We do Innisfail. And that's where Vance, Nevada and I had the first ever cage match in that town's history. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's great to see. And then RCW has 7th Street Legion here in Calgary. And just being able to go to all those different spots, all those different promotions, is just so, I'm so fortunate, right? Because I'm living the life of the old carny, where you go town to town. And like next weekend I'm in Kamloops and Kelowna, the Okanagan, where the peaches grow, with thrash wrestling.
Oh really? Oh, solid. Good for you. Yeah, I'm gonna be I've got one of the fellas from thrash wrestling is gonna be doing a Monday Night Shaw soon too. His name is Smokey. He's I think he's one of the commentators.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I went out to not Kamloops. I did Kelowna for Big West Wrestling. I won their championship. I was the Big West champion for one day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was one of like the most coolest experiences of my whole life. We got to drive out to Kelowna. They promoter was really cool. He put us up in a hotel room. I beat him for the belt. Yeah, the next day I wrestled Rick Jules in a hardcore match and lost the belt. And oh boy, like the thing is, like for the match with Rick Jules is like it was a sparsely attended show. Unfortunately, those kind of happen once in a while. So like there was only like maybe 15 people there, but those 15 people, they were fucking into it. Like they loved it. I mean, I'm not kidding. There was like all the little kids. At one point, somebody goes, Rick Jules is a pussy, and the whole crowd, all like 15 little kids, and pussy. I was like, I don't know if I should encourage this, but like yeah. And then we were walloping the trash out of each other. Like I remember because we were just looking for weapons to hit each other with during this match, and we found a pair of jumper cables from KB6's car, and so we were like, we'll just wallop each other with the jumper cables a couple of times. So I got the jumper cables first. I walloped him and whack, right? And then got him another time, whack. And then he turned around and got me, and I was, oh, that was a bad idea. And he got me again. I was like, oh yeah, I think we're done with these. Yeah, it was, yeah. The jumper cables are rough.
I can't imagine. I can't. Yeah, that's when those get tossed into like the fourth row. Hey. Like,
yeah, we're just getting whipped with wires, and it wasn't so bad if you get it across, but like it like came around and like snapped and got you.
Well, it's got the clamp on the end.
Well, we kind of put the clamps on this end and then looped. There was a loop on that you hit each other with, so you're not hitting each other with the metal part. That would be that just doesn't seem like a good idea. Like we wanted to be able to continue having the match and no one get unconscious or anything, but yeah, no, I had a great time for Big West Wrestling out there with MBC. Getting back to Alberta and stuff, where did you train at? Like who's your trainer, and what got you into wrestling?
So I came up to Calgary, and I was only going to be here 3 months. I'm from Prince George in northern British Columbia, right by Barkerville, where my family's history is, and Bigfoot Creek and whatnot of that area. And I came up to Calgary, and I was only going to be here 3 months just to learn how to wrestle, train. Right, it was something I always wanted to do. I was always a massive Booker T fan growing up, and I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. It didn't happen. And then one day I was like, you know what, like I should do it. So I came up and I did a 3-month program at Workforce Fitness Performance Center. And the head coach there is Chris Knight. And so I did the 3 months. And after the 3 months, Chris said to me, like, you should keep doing this. Like, you're not at all ready for a match, but you should continue pursuing this because I think you like it. And I was like, yeah, I really do like this. So I said, okay, I'll do another 3 months. But I need to work because, I need to be able to, pay to do this.
Yeah.
So Chris actually set me up with a job. So I was working.
I believe I ran into you while you were working once.
Yeah, you've been to the casino, hey?
Yeah, we did for right here for Love Wrestling. We did the live Quizplex from Hitman's Bar, and I ran into you there. That was a good time too. I put one of those guys in the sharpshooter while I was in the Hitman's Bar.
That's a dream come true.
Yeah, it was great.
So Niter set me up with a job. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be in Calgary like another 3 months to do more, another section of training. Mm-hmm. So then I did the 3 months. And then when that ended, I went up to Niter and I was like, okay, I'm ready for a match. And he said no. And I was like shocked. I was like, come on, like I've just done 6 months. I'm now living in Calgary, like and he's like, no, you're still not ready. And I was so mad, but I knew that he was right. Mm-hmm. So essentially what I decided to do is get set up in an apartment in Calgary and just keep training. And just from then, like when he said no, a switch turned,
Yeah.
And when I first came down here, it was like the first 3 months were like casual, like, oh, I'm here to train to do wrestling and we'll see how it goes kind of thing. And then the next 3 months was a bit more serious and a bit more confidence because I was like, I'm actually enjoying this. And not only that, like I have a little bit of skill. I might be able to offer something. And then the last 2 months, because I ended up training 8 months straight, 4 days a week, 2 hours each session. It was intensive. And those last 2 months, I was a beast. I was in another zone because I wanted it so bad at that point.
Good for you, man. That's
and good for Chris for knowing, no, I'm still not the prospector, right? Because I showed up there day one knowing the gimmick, knowing who I'd be. Absolutely, I knew who I was and who I'd be, and to get there though needed a lot of time, a lot of training, and a lot of honesty, brutal honesty. Actually, I was actually mad at Chris when he said I couldn't. When he said I couldn't wrestle, I was mad at him, but I knew he was right. And you usually are mad at people when they're right. And so it was 8 months of training, and then now I've been wrestling since my first match, I think, was in February of last year. So we're almost at 1 year. We're just at 11 months right now. We're almost at a year. And my mom phoned me the other day, and she's like, yeah, you coming home yet? And I was like, no, I still got some stuff to do down here. And she's like, yeah, this has just been a really long 3 months.
Well, I can't relate. Honestly, though, I think you took the better path. Me, I started training. I moved to Edmonton in September of 2018, and I was living at Squig's house. And I was training with Andrew Honk. And about a month after that, October the 13th, I had my first match. And I was not ready at all. Yeah, it was rough. And then eventually I was just doing like small little out of town shows every once in a while. Hawk ended up moving back to Newfoundland. So then my training just stopped. And then around, I think it was like February the following year, I got in with Force Wrestling, doing the training with MRB and Zoe and those guys. And then from there on, I was regular, like 3 days a week, and like, as far as I'm concerned, like, I don't think that like the idea that you come and you do your 3 months of wrestling training, you graduate and you go out and you wrestle and you don't need to train anymore is ridiculous to me. Like, no, I currently am still like, I've like, my 5-year anniversary of my first match was last year, October the 13th. So like me, I did like, I'm wrestling this weekend, so I need to be in the ring training to get ready for that, like, all the time, consistently, like, and so the fact that you did like 8 months, you were well prepared, and I think that was Chris Knight's point on that, because I was not well prepared, and I blew out my knee in my first match. I'd separated my shoulder like 3 days before it. I put a big armband around my shoulder. It was like, okay, Squid, this is the one that's hurt. Don't hurt my arm, and went to the ring. And I don't know. At that point, I'm an older guy. So I had wanted to wrestle for like 20 years. When they said, well, do you want to do this match? I wasn't about to say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's different philosophies,
100%.
And that's not to say that everyone needs 8 months of training. I just did, because I didn't pick it up fast, not fast enough, right?
Are you still like? Do you still go down to the training center and get in the ring like a couple times a week? And
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always in the ring, still like working on moves, and I'm in the gym a lot these days.
Solid. I think
my workout schedule now is bigger than it's ever been. Over the past year, like, because I did the 8 months with Niter, and then once I started doing shows, I trained over at AWA, Alberta Wrestling Academy, which is Can-Am's wrestling
Yep.
school, where Travis Cole and Jude Dawkins are the head coaches, and I did a lot of sessions with them, learned a lot, and as well, like Can-Am just was very generous in their booking of me this year, and they paired me in the ring with guys like Cyclone Ramirez Jr., who showed me and taught me a ton. Andy Anderson knows a ton about wrestling. So, you're always training, and even if it's on a show and in the ring on a show, there's so much learning to be done. Like, you can learn so much just in the midst of a match. And but I'm now at a spot where I've had a year in this business in Alberta. I've enjoyed every single show I've been on. We should actually get back in a few minutes here to talking about the crowd of 15 people that you wrestled for, because I have an opinion on that I'd like to share, that I don't think people share enough. But anyways, on the note of training, like I'm now, like, I kind of reflected recently, like, okay, what's the next step in my career? And the answer wasn't more shows, but it was actually more training. So come mid-February, I'm going down to Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to be training with Booker T at the Reality of Wrestling School.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
Yeah, man. I'm going to be there for 6 weeks, and that training is insane. They're 2 hours of weightlifting a day, 2 hours of in-ring, 5 days a week.
Damn.
So if I don't know how to wrestle when I get back, then that's gonna
that would be cool though, because like you're gonna be like in an environment where there's you're gonna be doing 2 hours of weightlifting and 2 hours wrestling and all that, but you're gonna be doing it with a whole bunch of people, and I think that's the coolest part about that. I mean, I can Gigi Ray, who wrestles here in Edmonton sometimes and whatnot. She actually moved down to Texas, and she trains there with Booker T. And she's actually just as far as I know, she's currently in Japan wrestling. So
she's in Japan right now. She held a title for the Reality of Wrestling promotion.
Yeah, she kicks ass. She's really good.
Oh no, she's next level. Like
yeah.
I
feel
I got to see where she goes.
I got to be in a match with her for the clandestine when they were doing the COVID clandestine ones where it was like no fans or whatever. And she was in one of the matches with me, and it was a 6-person tag, so it wasn't like I wrestled her, but yeah, it was. We were in the same match, and we have done a lot of training together too. Yeah, she's really good. I remember the first time when we were learning back suplexes. And generally it's a nice up, down, flat on your back. Well, I was like, I have like issues where I think, okay, even if I'm not like a huge fat guy, I kind of think I am. So I gave her a really good like jump, right? Like I jumped right up there for her, and I came down and I bumped here. And rolled to my feet and onto my knees. And then I just kind of looked around and started laughing like, oh, I'm still alive. And MRP was like, that was the most insane thing I've ever seen.
He hit you with the old back suplex pile driver.
Oh yeah, it was gnarly. But yeah, no, I was totally fine. But yeah, it's just one of those good memories I have of wrestling with Gigi Ray, and the where I was like, oh, okay. And then it was, she's a pretty strong girl, Kyle. You don't need her to jump way up in the air for her. Just give her enough that she can pick you up and put you down, So it was my fault. I'm not trying to like say, oh, Gigi Ray goes around dropping people on their heads or anything.
No, of course not.
But no, she's really good, and I'm happy that she's had those opportunities, and I'm happy you're going to get those opportunities too. That's incredibly cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I met Booker T when I was 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I met him for just a few brief moments. We got a photo taken, and it's the only time in my life I've ever been starstruck. And
wow.
That same weekend, I met a lot of other wrestlers, like legends, Undertaker, Randy Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, who I'm now, stealing his and painting over to make myself an LJN figure. I met, all those people over the weekend, and it was very cool. And when I met Booker, I couldn't believe it that he was real, because as a kid, seeing him on TV and idolizing him in the way I did, I thought, this is Superman. This is a fictional character who does not exist. For whatever reason, when I met all the other wrestlers that weekend, it was very, very, very neat, exciting stuff. When I met Booker, I was shocked. I was shocked that, starstruck. Probably the only time in my life it's ever happened. And so now, now I'm at a place with my wrestling where I think I got to take that next step. I got to go to Texas City Reality Wrestling and train for my childhood hero.
And you said, when are you going for that?
That's mid-February, so I'm leaving.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, because I really hope I get to wrestle you. But if you're leaving in mid-February, then that's pretty soon. Maybe
you and I will jump in the ring in the summer, because I'm going to be here all summer.
Oh, okay. You're coming back. That makes me even happier than. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see people leave and get successful, but I'm even happier that once they've gotten their success, they come back and, let the success rub off on other people.
No, I love Calgary and Alberta so much right now that I don't want to go. I don't want to spend a summer anywhere else. And it's funny though. Earlier you mentioned the crowd size. Right?
Yes, I was just going to say you had some thoughts on that. Let's get back to it.
I do, and this is a perfect segue, because like the thing about pro wrestling is the people who go to it are seeking it out. It is not in the same realm of popularity as, say, hockey, right? If you go to a hockey game, there's a ton of people there who don't know the rules of the sport. They're just there because Canadian culture tells them go to a hockey game. With wrestling, it's different. If you are wrestling, at a Legion in a small town, and there's 15 people there, those 15 people have actively decided to go there, to give you their Friday or Saturday night. And I mean, anyone who works in wrestling knows that, like, money is tough, and wrestling tickets to our shows are not cheap. So if you look and you see a family of four, they've spent anywhere from $80 to $100 to be there, and that is what 100%. They spent for their Friday night. And yes, they are 4 out of 15 people in the crowd. However, they are trusting you, and they are asking you to provide them with an entertainment for a, price that is, yes, $15 to $20 to $30 is reasonable for an event ticket. However, I mean, like, I'm not going out spending $15, $20, $30 on events all the time. And especially if you have a family, that's not $15, $20, $30. That's $80 to $100. And then they hit the merch stands too. So, if it is 15 people, those 15 people damn well want to be there. So you damn well want to wrestle for them.
Like I say, they were really into it.
This sounds, when the match you gave them, absolutely.
Yeah, it was like they were making noise the entire time. Like, they sounded like 50 people. It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
15 people at a wrestling show will be louder than 150 at a hockey game sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think that, like, you always want to do your best. I'll be wrestling, like, with Zoe in a training match in front of no one, and I still want to do my best. So, like, I never go, oh, there's only 15 people here tonight, we don't need to bump or anything. No,
like,
what?
And it amazes me that attitude does exist, because I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah.
And some people do have that attitude. You and I are not two of them, but there are others, and it's just yeah, it's like it's.
I mean, I
We're
might not
there.
be able to get, I might not be willing to get hit with a piece of glass or thrown through a table that's on fire in front of 15 people,
I won't do
you
that.
know, but
I won't do that anyway.
fair enough.
Don't
But,
when you and
but
I
like,
meat up this summer in
I'm
the
just
ring,
saying, if I'm going to die,
don't you
like,
dare light a table on fire, because I guarantee you I'm not going through it.
yeah, no, there was a big death match in RCW last weekend, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm not passionate about the business or anything. But one of the guys that was scheduled in it wasn't able to make it, so they ended up changing it to like a 6-person death match because they knew they had to do one. And Squiggy come to me and he said, "Kyle, you want to be in the death match?" And I was like, "How much money you want to pay me for that, Squig?" And he said, "It's the same rate." And I was like, "I'm happy to be in the tag match against Mitch or Larry and Rich," so.
Oh, Milanta.
Yeah, because yeah, no, I if I'm going to get all cut up and stuff, then yeah, I'll probably want to get paid for that.
Yeah, no, you and I will do singles.
Yeah, or tag team. I mean, me and you as a babyface tag team would be great, because like I'm not a huge fan of babyface versus babyface. I like babyface versus heel much better.
Yeah.
I'm even less a fan of heel versus heel, because then you're just like, oh, nobody wants to cheer for either of these guys, Have you ever had any situations like that? Have you gotten to the point now where you're because I don't know, like when I was young in the business, oftentimes you just show up and you do whatever anyone else wants to say. Have you gotten to the point now where you're offering up a lot of like insight into what you want to do during the match and that sort of thing?
It really depends. I've been fortunate enough where the veterans who I have wrestled against do listen to my opinion. Now, whether we take it or not is another story. But I feel heard. I feel heard, and I appreciate that. The other, the thing about me is like I wrestle a pretty darn specific 1980s style, right? Like iron claw, big
I love
boot,
it.
leg drop, body slam. I have a few, fancy things up my sleeve. I tend not to use them. I can do her Karana. I got a good Casadora. Right. I have different things in my arsenal, but superplexes, elbow drop off the top rope, to me, that's good enough. Right. And because of my like style, I'm not usually wrestling other people's styles. Even if they wrestle their own, I'm still going to be sticking to my fundamentals and what my character does, what the prospector does. Because even though the prospector can hit a Hurricanrana, usually he doesn't want to.
Yeah, no, I kind of have a similar mindset. Like I like I say, I have weird issues where I like body issues and stuff where I just like, even if I am like right now I'm in pretty decent shape for me, but I still feel like, oh, I'm in horrible shape. But I'm like every once in a while I feel like if I do like a flying head scissors or something, huh?
You've been hitting the gym a lot.
Yes, a lot. I actually I've lost 20 pounds since December the 27th.
Honk.
Yeah, so like literally like 20 pounds since the last show, and I'm really trying to work hard, and as much as I'm hitting the gym, I'm going to the wrestling training like even more. So I'm loving it, and I'm just trying to get my sea legs back though, because like after you have like ACL injury, like you get pretty freaked out. Like you're anything where with your knees, it's like scary, and you're gonna have like you're not only just training so that you can do the physical actions, but like so that you're not like petrified while you're in the ring, you know. So there's been a little of that, and my first match back against Sean Martins when I was Santa Claus, I enjoyed myself. I had a tremendous time, and I really appreciated that Sean Martins put me over and whatnot, and it was an interesting experience, but it was kind of like a bunch of just things went wrong in that match. Like there was a mess up by the ring announcer, then there was a mess up by the sound guy. Like I gave him the sound cue like 4 times, and then eventually just turned to him and was like, come on, hit his music, you know? And then, yeah, so at that point, then it became kind of frustrating, you know what I mean? And then the second one, I was like, okay, this is like this is not me doing a Santa Claus, little gimmick. It's a real match here. And I was so worried that I was going to get like blown up and gassed out that I planned it. So we only did like a few things at the start, one thing in the middle, and a few things at the end, right? And then I felt so good because I got tagged in for the end, and it occurred to me right then and there. I was like, "Oh no, I didn't need to worry about getting blown up because like I'm getting this fucking adrenaline surge right now." And I was like, "Come on, boys, let's fucking go!" Right? Like, and so now my
hulking up.
Yeah. I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, I remember now why I enjoy doing this, So, yeah, no, my next match and my goal is not to just survive, but to actually like thrive a little bit and show off. So I might actually bust out a flying head scissors in that match. You never know, like I like to do like one of flying head scissors or a moonsault, that kind of stuff. I have to practice the moonsault, significantly more before I start doing that on shows, just because like that's another one where you're like, oh, I don't know about that with my knees being the way they are, but I like to do one of those sort of things because people don't expect it out of me. They just expect me to be able to do like hip tosses and clotheslines and headbutts. And most part, I stick to that because that's what people expect. But then you do something unexpected in there. Oh wow, So
shock them a bit.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. Yeah, so it's been real enjoyable trying to get back on the horse and stuff, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes my way next. Trying to just work hard because I want to honestly I want to start working in all kinds of places. Like I'd like to do more travel, go back to BC. I'd like to get on with Love Wrestling, of course. I'd like to wrestle for them. I do the commentary on the clandestine wrestling society cross Love Wrestling shows, and so I'd like to transition from doing the announcing to doing wrestling there. And I'd love to come over and do some matches with Can-Am too. They got a bunch of guys there that I love. Like I've tag teamed with Danny Mayhem. I absolutely love him. I've tag teamed with Jude Dawkins. I really like him. I've tag teamed with Travis Cole. I really like him. They got a lot of guys there. Like I think that I've heard stories that Vance Nevada's not the nicest guy in the world, but I feel like me and him probably have a pretty fun match. Be pretty entertaining. So
it'd be entertaining.
Yeah,
it would be entertaining.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of guys over there I'd like to wrestle too, and I'm just like I just want to go places and do things and have fun with all kinds of different people and learn different stuff, and yeah.
No, and that's the best part about this business is the travel part, is seeing other promotions, meeting other wrestlers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so awesome when I got to go to BC because like I traveled with KB6 and Rick Jules, and it's a 13-hour drive out there and whatnot. But it was a great drive. We're all awake the whole time, listening to music and podcasts and chatting. And then we got there and went to the beach in Kelowna, like in the summertime, and Yeah, it was
You guys
great.
even
And
wrestle at that point, or was it just the boys? The
no,
boys.
no. Then we headed to the arena. We helped set up the ring. Got everything ready for the show. Had a real fun show, and yeah, there was a hotel set up. The next day, we went over to another town, did the whole thing over again, minus the swimming. But yeah, and then I had such a great time out there, so I really want to go back to BC, and I'd like to work for some of the other wrestling companies out there. I worked for 365 in Victoria because I'm from Victoria, and all my family and friends lived there from childhood. So none of them had ever seen me wrestle. So I got to finally go out there last year and have a match in Victoria, and a bunch of them came, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Wow.
Have they ever had any matches in Bigfoot Creek?
Well, Prince George is
Oh
now.
yeah, Prince George. Did they have like a really big one there with like Santino Marella on it, and it was like a huge big deal?
That was a wrestle course show about 2 years ago or so. But now in Prince George, Primetime Wrestling is operating out of Prince George, and they're putting on some real damn good shows.
Oh, nice. Who's in charge of Primetime Wrestling?
So it's Davey Greenlees is
Oh,
the promoter. Stuart Brown, the Mauler.
okay.
He's the
Yeah, I've heard of the
heavyweight.
Mauler.
Yeah, he's the heavyweight champion there. He just defeated Vance Nevada for the title. Braden Goss is the Northwestern champion there.
Solid.
And the primetime shows, man, do they sell out? Do they sell
Have
out
you
to the
have
point?
have you put in your resume to try and get on any of those?
I've been on every single one.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Yeah,
good for you, man.
yeah, I've been on every single one, and it's so I'm so fortunate to be on them because those cards have some real experienced wrestlers like Mentalo the Zombie Slayer, Sidney Steele,
Mentalo's
Sean
fantastic.
Martins. Yeah, like it's the guys who are who are in that locker room. Jordy Taylor, the
Jody Taylor's fantastic as well.
man, he's a good. Yeah, so I wrestled him for prime time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just that company is dominating northern BC right now, and they have a vice grip on the future. They are doing such good work, so entertaining, such good stories, great locker room, and incredible promotion because of just so they started off in one venue, sold it out, went to a bigger venue, sold it out. Now they're in a third venue, which we have shows there February 16, 17, and they're gonna sell out.
Nice.
And Primetime Wrestling is it's
I'm
a
gonna
hell of
have
a
to look.
promotion.
I'm gonna look into that so I can send my resume in there. I'd like to go to Prince George. That'd be fun.
Get it out there, Goose. My mom will make us dinner one night.
Oh, that would be super solid. Yeah, that's one of the good things about you want to book the Canadian Goose from out of town. Yeah, I will come and crash on somebody's couch. You don't have to put me in a hotel. I appreciate it if you do, but I'll crash on a boy's couch. I don't care. Yeah.
Goose, you gotta go. Geese fly north.
I slept in the dog bed of King Cash's dog's bed in Regina because there was a CWE tour went through Regina, and we all stayed at King Cash's house one night, and yeah, they told, Goose, you could take the couch. Okay, cool. And then we went out to the backyard, had a fire, a bunch of drinks and whatnot, and I came in, and there was somebody else passed out on the couch. Okay, I looked around. I was like, "Oh well, I guess I'll lay on that piece of foam over there. Just move it out of the cage." Yeah. So,
Where'd the dog sleep?
I don't know.
No, that's you took the dog bed. That's funny, but I mean, where'd the dog sleep? Like that's so. He's like out in the cold.
He was. I don't know where the dog slept. Maybe he. I really don't. I wasn't trying to put the poor dog out, but at that point I was like,
the moon.
yeah,
I fucking live here. How do you get my bed?
Well, there was a lot of people there that day, so but you know, it's fun times. I like that kind of stuff. So give me what has been your favorite match of your career so far?
Oh, geez. Favorite, hey?
Yeah, and there is a difference between favorite and best.
Yeah. No, I know there is. And that's where like I struggle to answer a question like that because I have so many favorite matches because it's when you're fortunate like I am and you get booked to wrestle all these different great wrestlers, it's like every weekend I have a new favorite match because you know there's so much talent around Alberta, and when you're in the ring on a consistent basis with talented veterans who are and different ones each weekend, it's like you have a new favorite match every weekend. But I know for a fact that my best match is the cage match that took place in Innisfail for Can-Am Wrestling.
I heard
It,
it was a bloodbath.
it was the first cage match in Innisfail's history. We broke the attendance record for our shows there.
Oh, good stuff.
There was months leading into it, and it yeah it won the at the Can-Am Awards. It won Match of the Year. And despite Can-Am releasing a public apology after the match for it having taken place, which is
It was a bloodbath then, eh?
oh yeah,
How much blood did you lose? Do you know?
I was in the hospital that night.
Okay.
I was in the hospital that night, and I couldn't wrestle or work out for a couple of weeks afterwards.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and yeah, that match, it's there's so much just like hatred and just
Yeah, I
anger.
wouldn't be happy if a guy like
So
made me bleed so badly I wasn't able to wrestle for 2 weeks. That's not cool.
it
Yeah.
was yeah, that match was definitely the best.
Well,
And
yeah,
favorite
like
though.
at least the good came of it. You know what I mean? Like there's a silver lining to the fact that you got all bloodied up and stuff. Like I don't know. I've got a couple of things like that where I've been
Mhm.
hit with chairs and whatnot, and a couple of them were pretty like okay, that was not cool and unnecessary and like shouldn't have happened. But also like I don't know. I endured it. I survived it. I'm still here. So I feel like it made me stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the yeah, favorite matches is always a hard one to answer. I mean, Josh Kirby and I wrestled in Raymond, Alberta on their Canada Day. He's
He's
so
very
I'm
talented.
wrestling Josh Kirby in Raymond, Alberta, and you know,
A place everybody loves.
and it was incredible because Pure Power Wrestling and the town of Raymond had organized the show to take place on Canada Day, 1 hour before the fireworks were set to take off at the football field. So everyone who was going to the fireworks for Canada Day went to the wrestling show. So I walk out of the entrance. There is 1,200 people with eyes on me, and we're the opening match. And Josh and I tore it down. Like
Nice.
we full adrenaline start to finish, and man, was that just special like experience, and it's the most people I've wrestled in front of, and the match was just electric. We were going fun times.
I had
Great.
a, I had a one kind of like that in Manitoba. I went to CWE, did a Lilac Resort. They did an internet pay-per-view. Well, I was on the main event of the pre-show for the internet pay-per-view, which I don't mind at all because my match got put up on YouTube, so I could watch it for free. But yeah, it was great. There's 2,000 people there, and I wrestled AJ Sanchez. And during my entrance, I came out and I like it was outdoor show. I got up on one of the picnic tables in the crowd and just started going, right. And literally, like the whole place was behind me the whole time. I talked to one of the boys at the merch stand afterwards, like, your match was the loudest match the whole night. And I was like, wow, I really appreciate that. You know, it made me feel really good. I go back and watch that match from time to time too, because it's super like simple, easy. Like it was like a, like a 7-minute match maybe, but it's one of my all-time favorites for sure.
Yeah, it's funny when those ones catch you off guard.
Yeah, it just like and I like it was cool too because it was like the first time I got to wrestle like in Manitoba, and I rode with Sean Martins all the way there, so I learned a whole lot in the car on the trip. It was a really, really, really good experience. Anyway, Prospector, we have just reached the 1 hour mark. I would like to get some words from you, though. I think we'll probably be putting this out either this coming Monday or the Monday after that. But so let us know what you got coming up. And where people could follow you. Yeah, give us your social media information. That would be great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't done a podcast in a little while, so I'm a little off my game too. And I apologize too if I talked about my own crap too much during this.
No, Goose, man, you've got great stories. I will cherish the dog bed one till the day I die. I love the idea of indie wrestlers, carnying it up, going town to town, sleeping in dog beds. So I'm gonna use that one.
I have been accused of being carny, and you know what my response to this is now? Okay, I admit it. I'm a bit carny, but you know what? Everybody has a whole lot of fun at the goddamn carnival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone looks forward to the carnival once a year to have a ton of fun, and you and I are living it every single weekend, Goose.
It's a good time.
Honk, honk.
Right. Alrighty. Well, drop your social media information so people can follow you and whatnot. And yeah, I'll let you go after that.
Yeah. No, it's just at Prospector Wrestling on Instagram. Find me there. All my dates are constantly posted. My shows are constantly posted. I'm on there daily, updating stuff. So, yeah, like. You'll have no issue knowing what shows I'll be on, and yeah, if you follow that page.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And yeah, like I say, I wish you all the best in your endeavors to Texas, and I look forward to when you get back so that we can wrestle or team up.
One or the other, man.
Boom shakalaka. It'll be a fun time. All right. This is I'm Kyle Shaw, aka the Canadian Goose, for the Prospector Wes Barker. Thank you very much for tuning in to Monday Night Shaw. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.